Are you planning to start your seedlings indoors? Do you raise composting worms? Do you make your own seedling mix? Or your seedling potting soil? Hi, I'm White Davy. Welcome to White Davy Garden and Worm Farm. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the ratio of worm castings to use in your potting soil, whether it is seedlings or just regular potting soil, or in your garden, the ratio of castings that is to be used. I'm going to be showing you also as I mix my potting soil to start my seedlings. I'm going to be explaining as I go. So in here I already put 20% worm castings, and if you are concerned about how much is 20%, then it is a ratio of 1 part castings to 4 part whatever other material you're using. So 1 part worm castings, 4 part potting soil, and I'm just going to be making sure that this is mixed in properly. I started mixing it in earlier, but then I thought, why not make a video of it? Now, different people use different quantity of worm castings in their mix, but based on experiment that I have done and based on experiments that many others, including universities, have done, it has been observed that using 20% castings give the best results. I've seen experiments where they use 5, 10, and 20%. I've seen experiments where they use more than 20%. I've seen experiments and I've done experiments where I use 100% worm castings, and the best result comes from using 20% worm castings. And also, if you use more than 20% worm casting, it is actually just overkill, and that is because the soil can only use so much and no more. So if you use more than 20%, if you have it and you don't have anything to do with it, fine, put it in the soil because it will amend the soil. But really, only 20% is needed. And I'm going to show you the result of my last experiment where I started seedlings using 100% worm castings. Some of you may have seen my experiment where I was testing to see how growing in 100% worm castings or starting seedlings in 100% worm castings would turn out. And so I was doing 2 experiments with this. I also had frozen Scotch bonnet on one side, which was labeled, and then I had over here regular Scotch bonnet seeds that were not frozen. As you can see, these ones that were not frozen did not germinate. The ones that were frozen, we had 4 plants. One was right here, that one died. These 3 survived. These germinated 5 weeks ago. They have been under grew light since then. And look at the size and look at the color of the leaves. They're very light. They're not dark green. Even the true leaves have darker green leaves than these do. So they're growing slowly, and they're not doing as well as when I grow peppers or when I grow peppers using regular mix. Now, I don't usually buy potting mix for my soil, for my seed starting plants, or my potting soil, that is. I don't usually buy, but this time around I decided to buy and see what happens. Usually I would get compost and I would get worm castings and I would do them 50-50. And with that ratio, I've seen good results with my peppers last year. They did very well. Now I'm gonna see what happens with this. I want to compare because I've never really purchased soil to use before, so I want to get the experience of it. Okay, so just like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be moistening this, and I'm going to be starting some seedlings. But the ratio of worm castings to your potting mix is 1 part castings, 4 part potting mix. And one of the benefits of using worm castings when you are starting seedlings indoors is that, or wherever you're starting seedlings, is that it helps with germination. It makes it faster. And also, because worm casting is able to control certain pathogens, then it protects your seeds and your seedlings better. And sometimes it is the case where when we plant our seedlings, they may take longer to grow than is expected or than is the norm. Worm castings also help to speed up the growth of plants. So that's another benefit of adding worm castings. So as I moisten this, I am moistening it with water that I soaked mosquito dung in, because I don't want to give the fungus gnats a chance to start developing in my potting mix. Because when you have fungus gnat in your seedling tray, what they're going to be doing is eating the root of your plants. And if you don't know what fungus gnat looks like, they look like fruit flies, but they tend to be darker in color. They tend to have a bluish, dark, a very dark bluish black sheen to them. And you can identify their larvae. The fungus gnats themselves doesn't really affect your plants. It is the larvae that actually do the damage to your plants, because the larvae feeds on the root of your plants. And you can identify the larvae of fungus gnat because they tend to be a bit dark in color and they tend to look somewhat transparent. So that is how you identify fungus gnats and their larvae. And so if you have fungus gnats and their larvae in your seedlings, the best way to control them is to every 5 to 7 days, because that's the life cycle of the fungus gnat, around 7 days. So every 5 to 7 days you want to ensure that when you're watering your seedlings, you use the BTI, otherwise known as mosquito dung or mosquito bait, to moisten your plants. And also watering from the bottom instead of the top of your plants, or should I say the top of the soil, is best for your seedlings. So if you're gonna get started, you might want to consider getting trays that allow you to bottom water, because not all trays allow you to do that. And if you're concerned about fungus gnat, has fertilizer become more expensive these days, and especially organic fertilizer, and with the wars going on between Russia and the Ukraine, and a lot of our fertilizer comes from Russia, then a lot of people are turning to worm farming in order to produce their own worm casting, their own fertilizer for their garden. So if you are interested in starting a worm farm and you would like more information on how to do so, then use the link below to watch my worm farming for beginner playlist. And if you would like to continue to get more educational videos like these, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification for more updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, time to grow.